Thousands upon thousands of people are missing right now in Japan. Help from around the world is pouring in to help find those missing people and to recover the bodies of the dead. We've seen crews of people on land and water. We've seen groups of search and rescue dogs, and now we've received word of search and rescue robots deployed in Japan. Here to walk us through the specifics of the robots is an expert, Dr. Henrik Christensen. He's the director of the Center for Robotics and Intelligent Machines at Georgia Tech here in Atlanta. Last hour, Dr. Christensen and I talked about the Active Scope camera robot that looks like a snake. We talked about the Quince robot that can climb stairs and get into places where humans can't get. I'm going to talk about the Quince again in a minute, but let's talk about the Tokyo Fire Department. They've got something called the RoboQ. What is that?
That's a larger robot that can basically carry out people, so it's relatively large. It could carry out also other dangerous objects that are there, but basically the small robots we talked about early on will be able to go in and look at structures, but they wouldn't be able to take, for instance, an injured person and actually carry that person
And now
out.
we're looking at that.
So, exactly. So here you're seeing the structure where you can basically go out, you can find a person, you can drag them out. It could be a situation where you feel it's too dangerous to send in a first responder. So instead, you send in a robot.
For instance, meaning an unstable building, perhaps.
As an example, yeah, or exactly. An unstable building could be under a bridge. You're worried about, is this going to collapse?
Right.
It could also be in the nuclear scenario where you have somebody that has fainted or something like that, and you don't want to send in other people, then you can send in the robot.
Okay, I want to talk again about that Quince that you mentioned. Quite a fascinating, simple-looking mechanism. It doesn't look like the world's most advanced thing. Let's take a look at that. That's the one on tractors, tractor wheels, like a 4x4.
Right.
This is being deployed now as well.
This is being deployed. It's a relatively large robot. It's 3-4 feet long, and it allows you to basically drive over things. It allows you to drive up and down staircases. It allows you to, here you see
look at this, is fascinating.
Staircase. Exactly. So if you have something on the second or third floor, you can use this robot to go up the staircases to get a pretty good sense for what's going on.
It's not carrying anything. It doesn't have a payload. It's the idea of putting this thing in there is a camera or sensors.
It's a mobile camera, but also you could have, for instance, a spectrometer so that you could get a sense for, are there gas leakage? You could put on radiation sensors to get a sense for, do we have radiation threats here? So all sorts of, but it's basically a mobile sensor.
Okay, and then there was that Active Scope. You were telling me that one of the teams that deals with this is actually from Sendai in Japan, which is one of the most hard-hit areas.
Exactly. So Professor Tokadora is from Sendai. He was in Texas when this started to test this. So here you're actually seeing his snake robot, the Active Scope. It's about an inch thick. They were here in Texas training for exactly that kind of scenarios in Disaster City in Texas. And on Friday, they were getting ready to fly home, and then they heard about the disaster, and they packed up as quickly as they could and got back. And they are getting deployed right now. I spoke to him this morning. He's doing well. His family's doing well. He was a little bit frustrated that electricity was going on and off all the time because of some of the other challenges.
Right, and these things, in that sense, can be self-contained.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. All right, Dr. Henrik Christensen is the director of the Center for Robotics and Intelligent Machines at Georgia Tech. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.